Hello. In this video, I want to go over an easy way to create animations inside the Stable Diffusion. For this, we're going to use a Stable Diffusion 2 with automatic 1111 distribution. After you install on your local machine, we want to go ahead and install this extension. To do this, we're going to tab called Extensions, go to the tab called Available, click on Load, and in Load, let's type DeForum. After DeForum appear, mine is already pre-installed, so it's gray out. And if you're not yet installed, it will call Install it. Click on this and it will install extension on your machine. After this, I would recommend for you to go to the Install it, click for Check for Update. And if any of the extensions need to update, it will tell the update is available, and then you can click Apply and Restart. Even after you install the DeForum, I highly recommend click Apply and Restart, so it will reread all environmental variables for you to work with this. After it's completed, you should have a tab that call DeForum. Let's click on this tab. One of the oldest kind of extensions that was working with Stable Diffusion provide animation. They have some plus and minuses. Plus, it is already done for some time. It's allowed you a lot of flexibility and adjustments, but the biggest minus is still have it very incoherent, so it's still flickering and other things. So it does provide some interesting for some specific case, but general, it's not flicker free. Okay, so let's look what we have here. You'll notice we have it options first for the help, and if you need it, I always recommend go and check, because it have a very nice documentation and tell how some key can use it. You always can refer this. Below this, we have it again. I'm using deliberate B2 Safe Center, so I'm using this model, but below, right here, we have it our sampler. Euler A, it's most common. If you select, you can change it. We have it also amount of the steps. Let's go set 50. We have width and height specify for our image. This one is 768. If I'm right, I was render on a height and width 512. Usually just a vertical. When I render for the shorts or some other fun stuff, you can do this way, or you can render in a landscape mode for like YouTube or other things. Seed. This is, I will show you, but it's same like in text video, so you can check this one and change as well. And before we actually continue render, what I recommend, this seed, it will feed us from text to image. So in a second, we'll go look over this process. So in our keyframe, notice we have a 2D and 3D, also video interpolations. Mostly you will probably use 2D or 3D, depend on how you want to your camera arc, because in 3D you have additional access. You can move your camera, and 2D it just move only in a two-dimensional. Okay, next we have it also our coherence frames, and this is how many frames between, because if it's render like frame 1 and 3 or 1 and 4, and how many frames will blend between. Don't use too much. If you use it less, it's won't be wrong, but it's take longer time, because now it won't skip at frame. Depend on how you render. Sometimes I found actually create blending frame. It's create this like blur effect. I don't necessarily like it, so usually maximum frames you can set like 1. Increase time of render, but quality will be better. Okay, next, maximum frames. This is how many frames you want your video going. So if you want to do 240 frames, and remember, this is frames. It's the rest. When we start working with video, it's how many per second frames. So it does not mean 120 frames. It doesn't mean you will have a 2 seconds or whatever, because 60, whatever, how many frames are 24 frames per second or so on. So this will determine length of video, but this is also depend on what is a frame rate per second will be related. So this is a couple places you need to modify for this. Okay, next we have it. If we have any guided images, this way we can actually select, and this will help you to upkeep coherence, so you can create multiple images, but you need to be careful. And again, I'll show you what we do before we actually start using those images. What are we going to do? Again, if you need it, you need to enable this if you're going to use it. Let's go look on our string, and you notice right here we have our zoom formula. It's complex formula. It is a kind of like moving zoom, not constantly, but it's covered in an impulse. Actually, it's a very good effect. You can try to play around, but generally this is working just well. Also, we have it angle rotation, so we have it transform from center, so it's moving left and right in this. Sorry, translation move left and right, and transform center ways pointing. Sadly, you cannot have it camera rotate around the object. You need to have some other tricks to do with this, with positions, so kind of, but it's not yet there. And if you switch this to the 3D, you'll notice it's changed some of the options for the 3D, but it will also start working with the additional like Z index right here, translation Z. So it's more dimensional because we add third dimensions now. Okay, CFG is our guidance, and here it is. You can set based on the frames if you need it. So in specific frames, you can say, hey, keep it very close to the image. Now go berserk, go away and create other ones. So right here we can specify seed. Same, you can actually iterate the seed, which is nice because if you create image and you remember the seed, you can actually put all the seeds here and be sure each frame kind of closer to what you're creating. This is helping us to create precision on the images and reduce some of the flickering system. Okay, sub seed, fish sub sanger. There we have it, our steps, what you want to do, samplers, and sample right now Euler. This has allowed us to change per frame, which is kind of nice. Before you stuck just to one sampler, now you can have this, or you can have it. It does not have drop down. What you need to do is just type names inside. Okay, and same with the check model. If you want to change actually what model you're using, you can go from anime to photorealistic model and switch between them, between a frame to render. Okay, it sounds likely a bit complex, but after time you won't use all of this. Most time you probably use just default values. Next we'll go to the prompts, and notice in the prompts right here we have it steps. So right there it's 30 frames and 120 is last frame, and we can put it all this different type of the text, so it will go from one frame to another. If you put just one single, it will camera stay right there and just single image. So you can change this on what frame what should render. It won't change instantly between on frame 29 will be this, on frame 30 this. It will slightly kind of like blending in almost with those. Okay, so image initializations, you saw that it's what you want when you start, and you want based on specific image. So you can do from here pre-render image, or you can go have it like animation. Some take video frames, separate and use those video frames inside to render as well. And same for the video initialization if you need it. If I'm right, this will perform some of the frame extractions. Okay, if you have it masking specific areas, you can use it here as well. Now we're going with a control net, and control net is nice because now actual control net built inside the DeForum. So it's meaning we can go inside from here and use it our model, preprocessor and other things. This is nice if you use it some reference photo with a poses or depth of field you can create it, or other effect. So preprocessors, it's same. What do we have it actually for the images, like a depth, what I said before, normal or other things, threshold, and of course the models that we can assign to them. If you work with control net, you find this familiar. The difference is only it's add some animations. For example, a weight, you can see wherever you have it 0 and 1, it's a weight of 1. So if you want it, you can say on the frame 30 you can have it less weight, and so on. So you can put it all the information and program for different frames, whatever it will do on those frames. This is what makes it more interesting. It's not just static numbers. All of these most numbers, they are dynamic and they can be changed. Okay, we also have it hybrid video, and we also our output. This is area where it says you'll need check because it's have 15 frames per second, so we have 120 frames, but they will divide. It's make more sense of 15 frames. It was 150 frames, so it will be there. Otherwise you can change 12 seconds. It's what some people use it with doubling frames. Most videos work in 24 frames per second. It will have a little bit smoother animations, other things. It's up to you what you prefer. Just general, it will be 12 frames or 24 frames animations. So in this case also you can add some sound file if you need it attached to your video, so when they finally come by and compile all of this final video, it will take your soundtrack and put it in. You don't necessarily need to have it music, you can have it just a dialogue or any other things. Okay, and below we have it our frame interpolation, so it says how many frames you want created. If you created 2, it's what interpolate between those frames, and you can schedule which format you like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. But before running, what I want to do, I want to be sure that what I'm creating is image what I'm going. For this one, we're going to text to image first, and we'll try our strings inside here to define what to find what I like it. And let's go ahead, let's go type, actually, you know what, let's go anime, cyberpunk, driving on the street. So we can just specify simple words. Sampling 20 is minimum. I would recommend 50 to do for this delivery. Also Euler, you can have Euler, or we can switch to the TMP++ to S cars. Okay, I think that will work fine. And let's go with the width with 768, so it will be like 2x3 almost. Next, what I want to do, I actually want to increase, so I'm going to click 6 images, so it will render batch for me of 6 images. We can preview. Let's go ahead and click generate. Okay, so right here render is done, and all what I wanted, I want to see some of these images. So watch one I like. Actually, that one was look very interesting. So when you like the image, I don't want to create my animation blindly. I want to see what it's getting, and this is actually very good pose, composition, whatever I like it. I need to go click on the recycle icon and get this seed number. So this is what I want. I want to copy my seed number and copy also other settings. Our CFG scale is 768, 50 on sampling. So let's go back to our DeForum here, and that's what we're going to set. Remember our steps 50, here, except these ones we want to change. We'll go 512, and our width will be 768. We want a little bit wider. We have it same. Let's go on the seed. We'll copy and paste this seed to use it for ours. If we want it, we can go inside the keyframe, and we don't need to use this. Let's go back to our 2D. So we'll switch from this 2D. 120 frames will be okay. We'll just need to reduce from 15 frames to maybe, or increase to 24 or 12. We'll probably go with the 12. Also, we don't need change the checkpoints, zoom and everything. We'll just leave it as default for now. Let's go in a prompt, and here's what we're going to render. So we want to be sure we take our prompt that we're using, and we're using in the form. And right here, this is actually says on a 0. Let's do this one. Let's go on the frame 30. We'll just paste same one, and we'll paste this one as well, and this one as well. So we have it exactly same. If we need it, we can modify, like for example, instead yellow, we can say green, then blue and red. So now the color will change, but we will have it exactly the same seed we're using all the time. Okay, so we're in prompts. Prompts look okay. Let's go to initialization. We'll just leave it as default. Our string 0.8. If we're using image, we don't kind of use it. That is okay. Control net, we won't use it for this. Same hybrid video, we'll just leave it like that. And our usual output, let's go put it 12 frames per second, not 24. Oops, right there, expanding. So we'll leave it just no soundtrack. Okay, I think that's look good. Let's go ahead now and we'll click generate. And it will take a little bit time, but you can see right here, generate first frame, and we need generate 120 frames, and we'll have it all this process. So I'm going to pause this and resume when it's completed. Okay, so after some time, render is completed. And we're going inside, and let's go ahead and click right there, click after generate video, so it's preloaded. We can preview. You can see we have it zoom. Definitely the problems with the switching screens, and there we have switching on different colors of the cars. It may work okay, add some green, blue, and add red, so it's going through all over those prompts. Overall, it's kind of fun way to do it. It's kind of optional how you can smooth some of the transitions. If you're using image reference, that will help quite a bit from removing some flickering. But when you start doing with the images, reference to the images, then we'll start working with some of our guidance. In this case, we can go inside, and right here you see expansions. Click on this, it's open, and you have it your string for the image and some other ones concurrent, so you can work with this as well. In general, I like to do this because it's create very fun, very simple animations. You don't spend so much time, and the result is very interesting. You can achieve very nice when you zoom through the jungles example, or race on the car, other things. If you do these motions, this work actually very, very well. Okay, let's go ahead right now. We'll look on the text to video, another ways to create it. In this case, it's something what's similar to when we create image, but it's a simpler, less options that you have with DeForum. With DeForum, you definitely have more option on the camera movement, on the pan, zoom, adjusting all these effects, rotation of the camera. Here we have way less options, and this is maybe finally a bit more easy to use, at least at the beginning when you try it. So what we're going to do, we'll go same. We'll take this string that we have before. Let's go text to video, put it our image, putting our prompt, our steps will go 50, ZFG guidance. Let's go set to the 7, same like before. Width and height, notice it's a little bit smaller. It will create smaller images, and it's kind of fun. Small animations you can create it, but we'll go try same 768. Oops, right here by 512. Okay, different. We'll seed. Let's go ahead and copy our seed from here. What do we have it? Okay, text to video. Let's go back there. We'll go. Okay, we have 24 frames. We'll go create it. We can switch these frames to maybe 120, same what we have before. No batch, just one. Image to video. This similar to other ones. If we have some video that or image that we want used as a base for our video, same things, we can use it. It's work very good on the portraits if you want to animate some maybe mouth movement or other things. In this case, we won't really using this at all, so we'll just leave it as default. Okay, video to video. Again, we don't use any video to video. We'll just go text to video. Let's go to our output. Frames per second. We'll go 12, same like what we did before. No sound. We don't need it. Leave it everything as default here. Notice well, so you need to have it FFmpeg to use this. If you used before other ones ABC sync, it's used FFmpeg applications. I will highly recommend for you to install it, because in many ways it's how the Stable Diffusion, in many cases, some extensions that taking images, how they extract frames, and as well how they put it frames together by utilizing this application. This, if you're not familiar how to get it, you just go to ffmpeg.org. I will provide a link for you down below and download it. This application, just follow installations, very simple installations. One thing I did find out in my case, I actually need to restart my computer to be sure all path, environment and everything take it, because before restarting it just cannot find a peg and it wasn't working properly. So in my case, After downloading, after installing FFmpeg, I need to actually restart my computer, reload the OS all the way. Okay, so we'll go from there. Also, if you have any questions, you can go to how to install, and I have all of this information for you as well. Let's go back and we'll see what we're using. By default, I think it's used ELR 2, which is fine. It's what we was using before. Okay, all done. And next, what we need, go click generate. One thing about this generating, it does not necessarily give you all this preview. It's still going. I do prefer go back to my command prompt with the server running, just to be sure we don't have any errors come up, because sometimes you will notice error maybe appear, or it's look like it does not do anything at all. Right now we actually need a little bit wait till all render is completed. Okay, one thing I want to show you, because I put it higher resolution on this, you'll notice right here we run out of memory, and I'm actually on 24 gigabytes. So it is particularly this extension does not like very high resolution. So we can go back here and says, let's go 256 by 256. So we'll go to reduce amount, and this is one way we can work with this as well. Okay, that is, seems like it will solve problem. So let's go ahead and click generate again. In many cases, I will recommend for you to open your task manager, go to your performance, go to down to the GPU. In this case, we can see what is the memory usage actually will be, and you can see it's actually jumped quite a bit. Again, it's going closer to 24 gigabyte used on this. And we'll go just check right now on our server, see what's happening. Right here we have it our simply preloaded. We'll see if this will work, or in some cases we may need to restart the server, because I used other animations in same sessions, and sometimes I found out that reservation of memory, some depend how script written, it's maybe not yet release memory in this case. Okay, so right here it's easy way how you can create animations with using DeForum inside Automatic 1111. And hopefully you find this video interesting, entertaining. Let me know if you have any other options or any other animation extensions that you like to use it inside the Automatic 1111. Thank you and have a great